Okay, we're good with live. This is my
good.
microphone.
Do you want me to speak into the mic?
I think
Yes, we can
that
start.
other one.
Yeah.
Yes, we're good.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Hi, you okay? So my name's obviously Ricky Lambert. I'm going to tell you, so I've never done anything like this before. I've done a few evenings, but mostly I'm with a host, and that host is asking me questions and we go back and forth. So bear with me tonight, please. I'm not sure that mic works, so I'm just going to put it down. No, actually, I'm just going to obviously talk about my life, a little bit about my career, but mostly about after my career, becoming awake, COVID-19, and my life right now, and my experience of what's happened over the last 6-7 years. So I'm from Kirby originally, Liverpool, Scouser, loved football, struggled in school, really struggled, had dyslexia, which I found out now was a superpower that I kind of needed when I was younger. It stopped me from taking in the bullshit in school, which really helped me later on in life. But I really struggled in school. As you can imagine, I was lost in classes, but I love football. I just couldn't wait to get out and play football. So football really kicked off when I left school, joined Blackpool, and I struggled. Is that better? Yeah. So football started 16, moved to Blackpool, but I just want to go back. I just missed something as well, which again I'll talk about a little bit more in my later years. But Hillsborough, it happened when I was 11. And I can remember being traumatised by it. Not just what happened, but the Sun newspaper, the way they printed about it, and then the reaction from the country towards Liverpool fans. And that was my first interaction with how this government and the media actually work. And that's a kind of relationship that I kind of had throughout my life going forward. Football kind of was a release for me. I had a kind of, I think I've got ADHD, but I used to call it overactive mind, and alcohol was something that I had a relationship early on. I loved the relationship with her, and then when I got into football was kind of, back in the day, it was very drink orientated. It was still loved the drinking side of it, which I loved. So when I got into football teams, the first people I looked for was the lads who would go out on a regular basis, and that's what I did. And my unprofessionalism kept me in the lower leagues for quite some time. One of the main reasons I stayed so low was because how many times I was going out. My career slowly took off. Ended up getting to the Premier League in the end with Southampton, playing for England, joining my boyhood club Liverpool, which was a dream come true for a lad from Kirby. That's when, obviously, for 33, your career starts to come to an end, which every player does. Tough years. Ended up at Cardiff. Neil Warnock was the manager who finished me off. And yeah, I was starting to come to terms that my career was coming to an end. This was 2016, 2017. This is the time I started to become awake to the world, and this is when I started to research away from football. When you're a footballer, you're very narrow-minded. You don't care what's going on in the world at all. But when I was coming to the end, I was looking around going, what is this is not right. The way the world is not right. And one of the things I wanted to research was the monetary system, because it was all fixed, obviously, around money. I quickly found out money wasn't real. It was printed, not backed by anything. I wanted to find out where that, and this was the beginning of my awakening to the world. So how did I become awake? I think you had the son on last week, David Icke. He was the one. So I went down all the rabbit holes. The monetary system, Federal Reserve, the couple of books that I read, the Creature from Jekyll Island, and the Dean Henderson, The Four Horsemen, oil, banks, the terror network. This is when it started to click in that the world was controlled by a very few amount of people, very few families, and it was quite scary, to be fair. It was hard to believe. I spoke briefly to family and friends. They all thought I was going a little bit crazy. And then 9/11 as well, which I didn't really understand when it happened, but when I became awake, I was starting to put which we probably all did at some point, we started putting the pieces in the right place. This is what happened to me. I started to come to understand that there was an agenda, and the agenda was called Agenda 2130. This is what I came across pretty early in my awakening. Again, I thought it was just down a rabbit hole, nothing to worry about, but as time went on, it was pretty clear that this was coming true. Another side of the thing, when I don't know which was the main agenda, the Greater Israel Project or Agenda 2130. I think the Greater Israel Project was designed to push through Agenda 2130. From 2017 to 2020, I really went through probably. It was tough because I was retiring from football, but it was obviously tough because I was becoming awake. And then COVID-19 hit, which I think we all, if you wasn't awake by then, I think everyone soon became awake soon after that. And this is where things really started to take a turn for my relationship with majority of the people who I grew up with, friends, because now I was starting to go public with my views, and people were really starting to worry about my mental health and stuff like that. The vaccines started to get pushed onto people, and I can remember, obviously I was quite verbal, so I remember thinking, should I come out and speak? Because I've seen the backlash my friend Matt Letizier was having. I decided to back him in the media, and the backlash I got was quite fierce straight away, but I was so sure about my belief and the way I thought, is that I not only carried on speaking, I tried to get as loud as possible. My parents, my family, my friends all took it. My dad had the booster. That's the one what kind of changed me dad, and his health hasn't been the same since. So that was kind of like I said, I was already awake, but now I was a bit angry, and now I really wanted to attack the government and try and wake people up urgently to what was happening. It was pretty clear what, in my eyes, what I thought COVID was a military operation to get all the governments reshaped, reorganised to push through what they're doing right now. And trying to tell people that was obviously not clear. This is when I started to come across people like you two gentlemen. So started to go on marches, started to meet other fellow people who were awake, which was unbelievable. It was like the kind of relief that I needed at the time to make me feel like I wasn't alone. I was right what I was saying, and that there was people not only behind me but shouting as loud as they could as well. So that was amazing to see. Go forward again. So obviously the lockdowns that happened, and that's when I think if you wasn't researching what was happening, I think that's when people started to research even more, and that's when I kind of had a spiritual awakening, and I thought things were tough before that, to be honest. This is when I started to understand, like I started to detach myself from the character that I'd played for 40 years or 37 years. And I started to look internal instead of external. I was pumping all this fear onto people, and I was probably pushing forward the agenda more. I was probably doing more damage than good, to be honest, because I was manifesting what they actually wanted to happen. So yeah, but I was trying to sorry, I'm looking at the list. I've tried to do like a bullet point of where I've got the timeline of what I went through. But the spiritual awakening, it was a chance to look at the sins I was going through, the people who was around me, the characters who I'd surrounded myself with, like I said, the character defects, the ego I'd created, especially being a footballer. Your ego kind of gets out of control, and it was a chance to try and tackle that. That's when I started to become a little bit spiritual. Meditation became a big part of my life, grounding, Jesus Christ consciousness, manifestation. All this started to come into my life, and it was amazing. It was an amazing time. It was obviously football was still a big part of my life. I was going into coaching, and I was still speaking out. But this was coming into my life as well. So it was a very exciting time in my life, but very scary at the same time. And the stuff I was saying was starting to create problems in my work with Wigan. And I think I went on to a march with these two gentlemen to about the 15-minute cities. I expressed my concerns and what it was. It was part of Agenda 21. And it was quickly clear that I wasn't going to be moving up. Since last year, moved away from coaching. It might be something that I go back into, but like I said, I feel like I'm on my own journey with what's happening at the minute. So yeah, sorry. The world today. So where I think we're at today. I think we're in a tough situation. I think with the leaders that we've got in place around the world, Zionism completely in control of every government, the false leaders, the attack on people like myself when they speak out, like this turnout today, for instance. This is like where we're at. I put this out on social media, and it just doesn't get out at all. The social credit system, what's coming, it's something that people. I try and tell friends and family. It's not something that they're bothered about it. They're actually embracing it. They can't wait for it to come onto them. They don't see the dangers of it. And it's something I'm really worried about. My children, I keep them in the matrix, to be honest. I don't try and awake them. I don't try and separate them away too much from what they've got at school. They're very connected to the friends, And if I try to disconnect that, I think it would be very tough for them. So I very much leave them inside the matrix at the minute, and then as they get older, hopefully they'll awaken more and more themselves. But yeah, no, the way I feel is that the only way to do it is we've got to decentralize away from it completely. So the threat that they have to us is that they will disconnect us from everything. So that is obviously, we've got to accept that. We've got to do it ourselves. I feel we've got to decentralize from the AI that's getting created. We've got to bring that down. Like David Icke was one of the people who woke me up. He says we are the many, they are the few, and that's the only way that the great awakening is going to happen. The more people that know, the more chance that we've got of turning it around. I'm 44 now. My eldest child is 18, and I do worry for them. It's a time in our lives that I feel like it is literally a year or two. You see Starmer was pushed through. He's a foreign agent in my eyes. He's not just another Prime Minister, a puppet. He's much more severe than that in my eyes. He does not care what's happened in the elections. He is not going to walk away. He is not going to walk away. Anyone who is supporting him needs to be removed as quickly as possible. And then that way, people say the damage to Labour. He doesn't care about the damage to Labour. He destroyed Labour when he took over. He got rid of any backing towards anyone else. He got rid of Corbyn, got anyone who had any morals or any patriotism to this country. That this is the identity of this country, and every country has to go for Agenda 2130 to be implemented. Sovereignty to every country has to be depleted, and that's what's happening in front of our eyes right now. I think the more people who speak out, and this is why I'm here today, I think that's the only way that we can get enough people to turn around. I think the mental health on everyone is starting to take its toll. The psychosis of people who are trying to stay in the reality what is being created is getting too much, but then they're not awake to what's happening. They're refusing to be awake, so they're going into psychosis and they're not able to handle it. I've seen it at close hands with my own family and friends, but even when you tell them that what might help, it's the refusal. And now that when they do start to get awake, it's the anger towards you. This is what I'm starting to see now. Not everyone. These are few people who are starting to become awake and starting to send me videos, starting to send me information, which is incredible. I love it. And this is the type of thing that you've got to see. But I appreciate everyone being here. I found it really difficult tonight speaking. I apologise. I've been knocked out of me kind of sync tonight, but I wanted to come on here for the people who've travelled. I appreciate it. Like I said, I haven't managed to get into the flow at all tonight, so my apologies. My apologies for it. I don't want to just like walk away, but if there's any questions which will kind of like joke, yeah.
Well, we had a chat outside, didn't we?
Yeah.
Excuse me. And you said you were going to shut off, and I wouldn't blame you. And I think, this is one of... It's disappointing, but this is really cosy. I like this. And to be honest, we've had some really successful nights, Carl, haven't we? Over these last 2.5 years. But that's one of the best speeches I've ever heard.
Resonates with me because I'm
one of the best speeches I've ever heard. It was brilliant what you just said.
When you talk about your daughter and that.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So I'm glad you stayed.
You've absolutely nailed it on there.
Yeah, I'm glad you stayed, Ricky. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm happy to answer any more questions. If there are any more questions about my career or about the awake side.
I wanted to know about how you do when you started to get onto the spiritual side of things. What happened to sort of put you on that path? And I was thinking about when you said about your kids and you trying to keep them in the matrix for the time being.
Yeah.
Maybe if you can draw them into that side of it, then they don't even need to sort of go to the other side, because that's what they're trying to get off us.
Yeah. So again, it's a bit of research that I was doing, and the feeling that I was getting is that like the Jesus Christ was a real person, but he was connected to God, and this is what he was trying to give us. He was trying to tell us Christ consciousness is real, and that it's inside all of us. And this is what I truly started to believe, and I still do today. So that kind of sent me on a journey that looked into the sins that you get. Again, I feel this world is definitely controlled by Satan, and the sins that are pushed onto us, it's impossible to get away with, and that creates a character in this. I also believe it's a simulation that we're in, and the simulation is God and God consciousness, and you can become an observer, which then you connect to God. That this is my beliefs, and a couple of scientific experiments kind of proved that to me. The double slit experiment, has anyone heard of that? Yeah, that kind of proved to me that reality is not what we think it is. It's not real. It's when you observe it becomes real. So literally, if you think about it, if you believe it, if you manifest it, it will become your reality, and that's what I truly believe. And I done, when I became Spiritual Awakening, I done a video called The Great Awakening, and I was talking about the Great Awakening. And I believe that it was when the masses understood manifestation, and enough of us kind of believed and manifested the same kind of thing, because that will stop what's coming. Yeah. And another test, Dr. Emoto's water experiment, where it kind of proved that water's a living being. It's got consciousness, it's got memory. That kind of told me the manifestation inside you is real, because the water inside you is alive, and this is where intuition comes from. You have an intuition that I don't know where it comes from. I think I'm not sure what how it's best to describe it, because I'm not that. But the fact that experiment, and people used to pray over the food and pray over the water that they drink. It's incredible. It just blew my mind anyway, just seeing this. It was like a yeah. It was yeah. It's incredible. It blew me away. But what it also did, it kind of I didn't want to play that character no more, so I pulled away from the character, which then pulled me away from literally everyone in my life. 90% of my people I kind of pulled away from, and that was kind of through COVID as well, speaking out over COVID, but just listening to the circus going around me, like the small talk going on, I could not handle the bullshit anymore. I had to pull away from it, and I have done since. I'm a bit of a loner now. The only people who I want to spend time with is my children, my close family. I've got one really, or a few close friends, and I'm happy. Honestly, I'm happy that it's like that. I don't drink. I haven't drank for over 2.5 years. So that was tough to begin with, but I'm seeing the benefits of it now.
So relatable.
Yeah.
I asked Matthew Letitia this question. It always intrigued me. And you at the time you were coming out to the industry, but you were still with Wigan training.
Yeah.
And I asked Matt, what was the attitude in the actual changing room? So what was going on within a football team did half of the team not believe it? Did half the team, you know, was people dropping dead on the terraces?
Yeah.
What was the media? Was there a purposeful thing for everybody to shut up, or were they battling in the changing room? Were it 50-50? Were a lot of people speaking up and told to shut up?
Yeah, no. So the majority of them didn't want to be taking the vaccine, and especially didn't want that thing up the nose. They
didn't want to.
The test that went up the nose.
Oh right.
They had to take that every day, twice a day. They had to take that twice a day. Yeah, twice a day. And a lot of them were faking the vaccines. So the doctors were faking the vaccines. This is the.
So there were a lot that were.
Yeah, I don't know this for a fact, but this is kind of what I was told.
So there were a definite kickback within the industry. They were.
Yeah, no, there was pushback, but there was no voices. Matt was the only voice.
Yeah, this is what we said this, Carl, haven't we?
And then I joined Matt, and I thought, oh, there's going to be an avalanche now. There's going to be an avalanche of people who are backing, who are saying the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there wasn't. The voices who had retired, who could have said something, didn't say anything. This is what kind of really upset me, because the players needed them voices.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
their time was over. It was up to the retired players to speak for the players who were getting put through that, and they kept their mouth shut.
So why did they keep quiet if they had nothing to lose?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Well, when I say nothing to lose, they made a career outside of football. They wanted obviously to keep that. They wanted to keep that side of things, which is the money. Yeah.
So we obviously know about Matt, we know about Andy Woodward,
Yeah.
and yourself. In terms of names out there today,
Exactly.
how many have we got on one hand?
Exactly. This is what I can't believe. I cannot believe when I started speaking up in 2020 publicly. I thought it was only a matter of time, and you know, if it happened, we wouldn't be here now. The football inside could have turned it all around, and because we didn't deal with them, what they did in COVID, this is why they're pushing through with this.
You know what I tried to do when the first started the lockdown, to stop the football games from people watching the football? I put on social media for every club in the country, and I said, I'll tell you what we all need to do is not let us watch our football games at home. So every other Saturday when your team's at home, let's all just gather outside the ground. And the word were getting out, I know it were, and all of a sudden they just took me down and stuff like that. And they stopped anything that connected to that. And to me, if people had jumped on that, which I knew they were going to do, you know, I said, if there's only 1,000 of us turn up outside the ground every match, you know, what a statement that would be.
Yeah, it would have been massively.
If you have the jab, you can go to the match.
And another thing as well, I'll tell you what I did do, Ricky, at the time, mate. And when they started reopening the grounds, and remember they did a test, and the first 5 clubs were including Burnley, to actually do a COVID pass or proof of vaccination or a PCR test to get into the ground. So I went and challenged the club at 1:30. We were playing Watford in the evening, and I went down to Burnley Football Club at 1:30. And I know, as you know, the team sheet's given in at 12:30 roughly. I waited by the time, went in, I said I need to speak to someone from the legal department, and they said, well, why is that? And it's, you know, the usual thing, can you put a mask on, all that? I said no. I said my advice is you need somebody down here quick. Now I speak to David Ehrlichman, who's on people's lawyers, and I had a little chat about him, and I said, David, I can get him on GDPR. I said, I'll get him on GDPR. He said, I never thought about that. He said, you clever swine. He said, so I said, there's 3 or 4 things. I said, number 1, digital discrimination. How can you expect an old man to go into the club on the night and he doesn't have a phone? You're discriminating. That's digital discrimination. I said, on top of that, you've got GS4 security, mainly Asian lads. I know 1 or 2 of them are on the inside of the ground and a third party. I said, there's 1 or 2 other things, but the main thing is, you've got no GDPR over anybody in terms of their medical status coming into this ground tonight. You can't stop that. I said, if you play this game tonight I'll close you down tomorrow. 5:05, Watford's got COVID. Yeah? They took everything on board that I said. They didn't play another league match till they reopened. About February. That's a true story.
Yeah, no, this is, I think we all know, don't we, that their karma is, if they push it on to us and we accept it, then they're rid of the karma. I just, what I've noticed with the football people though is that if you talk about anything apart from football, they just don't want to hear this. The majority of people, it's like keep it away. Not at first, not during COVID. The some of them was listening, but as time went on, trying to like push anything onto the football masses just was not working. I don't think that is the crowd. Even though one football team, Southampton fans, could have turned it all around themselves. And hopefully that can still be the case. Hopefully that can still be the case.
It starts with yourself, actually.
The main thing to me was people go, I want to go on holiday, so I was getting off my mates, or I can't get the season ticket. I'm just thinking, just do your own work and just do it a bit like, I just think it was a test. The COVID test to me was just a test to see if everyone was going to fall for it. 80% straight away, all these football games, you just take them, it's the 20% like us. And I just go along, I just follow football and like I was saying, so I'm interested no more really, just watch it or whatever, but it'll come to that again, and you can choice, and people will just say I want to go home, and I want to go to the match, I want to see it.
Yeah, and then they're going to give us free money, everyone's going to jump at that.
That'll make it sound good, Andy.
Yeah. And you go to the football grounds, especially the ones in the Premier League, they're already designed for it, aren't they? You can see.
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything, not just football, it's everything.
They're already designed. It was designed for a few years ago. So obviously that's what COVID was. It was a military operation to prepare for what's getting pushed through now. And not only preparing for what's happening now, it was to get rid of anyone who was against it. So anyone who was obviously into sovereignty.
Yeah. You mentioned the Greater Israel project earlier. What do you think about the latest thing in America with Massive, the Republican, and the being in the Kentucky primary, the Zionists coming in and putting 23 million in and pushing him out? Do you think it's getting to a crux where they're actually being totally exposed now?
Yeah,
so
but
it's coming to a head. It's coming to it's blatant what they're doing.
Yeah, I would not put it past that they've done it themselves. I think it's kind of what's it called? What's the movie that's coming out? The alien one. Declassification, so they're literally telling us now, and they have been for quite some time. They're not I don't think they're hiding the information.
Completely out in the open.
Yeah, so the information that woke me up in 2016, that is pushed out. Like, there's probably too much information now. If you're trying to get awake now, the problem is there's too much information that you're getting guided down the wrong probably avenues, and you believe in them.
It said that I'm not sure it says that I want to know your reaction about everything.
Yeah.
Where people don't follow or whatever. So that's why you're just taking the piss now as far as I'm concerned about everything, but the kids, everything. Well, AI's looking at you, want to know your reaction, you know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The lawless, it was called in the Bible for the lawless ones. You can see it, like, they're not human as far as I'm concerned, because they can't be. Because, like, you know what I mean?
Well, I think like the few families who control it, I think they've used Zionism as a tool to push through and destroy any government and take over every government, especially in the US. The US was the main one that they took over, and the UK, and then all the Western countries are starting to fall now, and that's been the tool that's kind of any sovereignty is literally about to fall, and we're on the doorstep of it. And if you say anything about it, you're getting silenced, or you're getting cancelled, or you're getting put in prison. That's literally where we're at.
Can't wait.
That's very TV glasses.
Yeah.
He's got no bills to pay.
Does it not raise your spirits when, like, the BBC are talking about this news, how to virus, they're all that come on the ship, and they're talking about this deadly virus, and they're trying their best to roll it out across them. It's that fear magnet across everyone. But there doesn't seem to be any reaction. Just everyone's just ignoring it. I think we've come to a saturation point where the more they try, the harder they get, the more open it is. I think it's just time to celebrate.
That's what I was saying. Do you think it's coming to a head, Ricky? It's been exposed. Where's it going? Where, in your opinion, do you think we're more and more?
So
will it be the greater way?
Yeah. So Starmer is obviously the kingpin. He is literally the boy. He's been groomed for this moment in time for decades. So he's going nowhere. He's pushing through the last few laws and emergency laws, and then he's going to push through probably the digital ID on this country first, and then it's going to spread to the US and then throughout the West. What's going to stop it? That's the question. So
we the people stop it.
So the great
stop and start realising, stop voting.
Yeah.
For the likes of this, we've got low thinking, we've got to save it. We haven't got no savings, we're going to save ourselves.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Totally agree. But you can see by the numbers here, there's not enough willing to do anything. But the only cure I can see is complete decentralisation. So you bring the system down yourself. That's the only thing that I can think of. So the Samson effect.
It comes down to unity and harmony is the key to everything. We've got to stop paying. Just stop paying all your bills. Stop paying everything.
It can be done, Ricky.
Stop
It can be done. While everybody's bills have been going up 70%, I've reduced my bills 70%. No wonder I get back.
Yeah, I'm only just starting on this road yet. I've had a little research on.
And you know what? I don't get no knocks at door. I don't get no red letters because I've done it lawfully.
Yeah.
And I tested the system 10, 12 years since.
Yeah. Is that gas and electricity
So I was
and
well
stuff
ahead of
like
what was going on. You know, the council tax, for example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I keep explaining on the group, you don't need, court procedures. You go to court, whether you win or lose, you're feeding the beast anyway.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So the whole key to it, for example, if you want to deregister, it's such a simple process. All you've got to do is, if you want to come off the electoral rolls, you just write a letter to an email and just say, I'm going to be travelling around, I'll have no fixed address, and that automatically takes you off the electoral roll. And that also automatically takes you off the council tax list as well, because you only register yourself in capital name to the property.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. It's such a simple procedure. That's all it takes.
It's just the fear, isn't it, with everyone now. Once the
That's how they got so far, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
You've got to be your own guinea pig.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to be their own guinea pig.
Yeah. I think that information is getting out though. More people are becoming aware of it.
It definitely got out next. They banned me on the set. I've now got a great name.
It's gonna come to a point where they implement it. That is gonna be the moment when we're gonna find out exactly where we're at, because there is enough people awake. But is the comfort of the life that's being created, that's probably the deterrent that people are just going to carry on with their lives.
The irony is, I learned everything off my granddad 30, 40, 50 years ago,
Yeah.
And he was such a weight walking man. He was called Jack.
Yeah.
So I often turn around and say, I'm alright, Jack.
Yeah.
And ask me, but I'm not, because this is why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And for 3.5 years, I've hit it like this every time, And we've had some wonderful meetings. This is just as good as any other. It's not many.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. What's here that counts.
Yeah.
That's what I said to you before, Rick. I'm going to get a choice soon.
Yeah.
A choice.
That's
a choice. We'll see, a lot of people will just think it. Good luck to them, I'm not saying that.
No, it's...
we'll see that bit, definitely we'll see that bit.
Yeah.
It's just our kids. It's
real life Hunger Games.
I've got a daughter myself, and it's what you were saying before, people say to me, don't talk like that to your daughter. I don't talk like that to my daughter. We made sure she never had the vaccine. I told her stepdad, she's a nice fella. She's not getting the vaccine.
Yeah, it's bit by bit, isn't it? It's,
You have to learn yourself, and then when it comes to her, I'll I've told her.
Yeah, it's little breadcrumbs.
But they know this as well, like.
But that's what we're here for, to help them understand when they need some advice.
Do you know, the more I've tried to wake someone up, the more resistant they are to become
I
awake.
don't think they're here to get
That's the start to wake up though.
Yeah.
I don't think they're here to wake up some of them, because I've my mates have no idea what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
I haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
The
bliss, isn't it? The bliss of it.
Yeah. Do you, every day, if you meet somebody, like go shopping, do you always drop little hints in, you know, like waiting in the queue and things like that?
No, I stopped trying about 3 years ago. Yeah, I stopped expanding. I stopped speaking out, because this is what I think I was doing. I was manifesting in a negative way. I'm putting fear into a human being, and I'm expressing what they want me to do. So I look internally now. Yeah. And obviously I don't do this often, to be honest. Like I said, since my spiritual awakening, it's all my work is inside. It's looking after myself, looking after my mind, and looking after my children. That's what I would love everyone else to do. When you get absorbed in what is happening to the world, the fear of what is coming, that's what they want. Because once that fear controls you, they will be able to pour anything they want onto you. So it's becoming free of that fear. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. I'm glad I stayed. I became more relaxed as it went on there.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's all right, it's okay.
Next.
Well, hi. Lovely to be here. Firstly, I just want to thank Carlo for the opportunity to be here this evening, and thank you for all showing up. So, my name's Pam. I'm a psychotherapist. I've had a business in Liverpool Therapy Rooms it's called, and I've ran the business there for about 7 years. We now have 27 therapists, and we work with up to 500 clients a month coming through, and all different clients, all sorts of mental health issues. And I also co-run a Truth Circle. It's called Liverpool Truth Circle, and we gather the first Saturday of every month, and we always have meetings there about truth and similar topics to what Carlo has here in Burnley. And so every week I work with some very courageous individuals who struggle with anxiety, chronic depression, burnout, hopelessness, suicide, ideation. And I ask the questions that my clients also ask, and they just feel that they're not being answered honestly by mainstream systems. So today I want to talk about what's really undermining the mental health and what we can do to reclaim it. So when we look at the mental health crisis, we ask, is it mismanaged or is it manufactured? So there's no denying that we're in a crisis. 1 in 4 adults will face a mental health challenge this year. Antidepressant use continues to rise. It's doubled over the last 2 decades. Young people especially are struggling as never before. And this isn't just about bad luck or failing in individuals. I say the system is shaping our distress, and it's causing the fragmented communities, the financial insecurity, the lack of purpose, and all of these weigh on us. We're treated as units, not humans. So Big Pharma and the the reason that we had this distress. So we'll shine a bit of a light on the pharmaceutical influence with the diagnoses that grow every year and rising prescriptions, but overall our mental health isn't improving. So the NHS in England spend 200 million each year on antidepressants. And when we let that sink, that's just antidepressants, we're not talking about any other medications. And between March 2020 and March 25, over 428 million antidepressants were issued in England alone. Now we know those are quite poignant dates, so there was an intense rise at that time. And approximately 8.7 million people in England were prescribed antidepressants in 2023 to 2024. UK stats are now showing that there's a 40% rise in children being put on antidepressants, and that stuns me, it chills me. And then we look overseas, in the US, there's $16 billion yearly is spent on antidepressants alone. So when we take a deeper look at what antidepressants are and the research behind what brought them about. So it goes back to the chemical imbalance theory, which in the 1960s came about to say that depression was a serotonin deficiency in the brain. And psychiatrists, researchers who were experimenting with various drug treatments for depression, they tried to come up with a justification of using drug treatments for this situation. So the simplistic idea was that depression is caused purely by serotonin deficiency, and that is not being proven. So the chemical imbalance theory didn't really go anywhere back in the 60s. It wasn't until the 90s when the pharmaceutical industry wanted to promote their new range of drugs for emotional issues. And that is when the SSRIs came about, so that's selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So they picked up this theory, they widely promoted it with their massive advertising campaigns. They told people that depression may be because there's a chemical imbalance, and that was repeated time and time again until people believed it. And when we look at that, that just rings a bell about COVID, doesn't it? Just repeat until people believe. So we've been at this a long time. So the reality of actually being on antidepressants, and this is what I see quite a lot in my work, it carries out risks like sexual dysfunction, weight gain, and most of all, emotional blunting. So people take the tablets to take away those really intense lows, but they also take away the highs. So they're sort of flatlining somewhere in the middle. So there's also an extensive list of side effects written on the pharmaceutical information, the little leaflet that you get inside the antidepressant box. And the one that stands out the most to me is taking this medication may cause depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. Make that make sense? Yeah. And stopping them suddenly can cause intense headaches, dizziness, brain zaps, which are like little electrical buzzes in your brain, anxiety, irritability, and sleep disturbances. And also when a doctor prescribes antidepressants, the patient, every 4 weeks, they should be getting a review to see, is there any side effects, how is it impacting you? I know for a fact that this is not happening. I work with too many people that are on repeat prescriptions for antidepressants for anything up to 15, 20 years. And they're exhausted, they're blunted. I also work with many women navigating perimenopause, menopause symptoms. And I've become increasingly concerned about how quickly antidepressants are being given for just normal hormonal changes in our bodies. So while antidepressants may help some women, we also need to ask whether they're adequately being supported through these significant biological transitions in their lives. And sometimes a woman needs to be told she's not just crazy, she just needs to be heard. So, looking at antidepressants, some people believe that there is support in it, they are helpful, but I tend to look towards, it raises a question. So when we look at our healing, our mental health healing, does that healing come from the chemical in a drug? Or does it actually come from the fact that your doctors listen to you, maybe you've had some counselling, the belief that a drug, the placebo effect. So I do believe that the thought of taking a pill and it's going to help, and the ritual of taking it can actually be quite therapeutic itself. So, maybe the question is, do antidepressants work? It's a deeper question to say, what does genuine healing actually look like? Depression is an emotional human experience. It can be grief, disconnection, overwhelming, meaninglessness, trauma, shame, isolation, and the absence of love of oneself and one's life. So instead of being asked, what's wrong with you, and handed a pill, we really need to ask what's wrong with our system. Normal emotional distress has been pathologized, it's not supported or explored. Healing has been medicalized, and the real causes are left in the dark. So we'll take a look at what are some environmental causes of depression. So we undermine our mind and body with toxic food, and it's in abundance out there, as we know. We are what we eat, and what we eat impacts our brain as well as our body. Over half the foods on the shop shelves are full of sugar, ultra-processed, chemicals, depleted nutrients. These foods wreak absolute havoc on our gut-brain axes. They fuel anxiety, low mood, poor attention span. The food industry profits, while our bodies and our children pay the price. So we're not just overeating, we're fighting an engineered food environment designed for addiction and not for health. And the body and the mind have a remarkable way of healing when we do give it the right nutrients. Then there's also the hijack of our brain and the chronic rise in ADHD, and I see such a correlation there. Our minds are being bombarded relentlessly. The average adult now spends 7 hours a day on the phone and screens, consuming content, information, stimulation, comparison, outrage, fear, entertainment, and distraction. Social media, 24/7 news, notifications, short videos, algorithm-driven content to keep the nervous system in a chronic state of fight or flight. The algorithms are not designed to nurture us or nourish us. They're designed to keep us engaged. The longer we scroll, we compare, we consume, the more profitable we become. Our attention has become one of the most valuable commodities in the world, and our data. So these platforms are carefully engineered to trigger dopamine hits, emotional reactions, compulsive behavior. Our brains are being trained to crave constant novelty, stimulation, and instant gratification. As a result, many people now sit in silence. Now struggle to sit in silence, to focus deeply, to regulate their emotions, or to simply be present without reaching for some device or some distraction. We're overstimulated, we're distracted, we're emotionally exhausted, and we're so disconnected from ourselves. Many of my clients who present with ADHD traits, attention difficulties, nervous system deregulation, anxiety, sleep disturbances, emotional, impulsive, overthinking, and they've got the inability to switch off mentally. I believe we have to ask how much of this is an individual disorder, or how much is a normal human response to an environment that is constantly hijacking our attention. There's mindless entertainment that may feel like relaxation, but often it leaves people feeling more depleted, disconnected, and mentally scattered afterwards. A distracted population is very easy to influence, easy to market to, and less likely to think deeply or question anything critically. So how do we take back control? Well, we can start by becoming intentional to what we put our attention to. Put the phone down, as hard as it is. Create silence. What does silence actually feel like? You know, we're so used to, our brains are scanning for the next thing. Read books. You know, ask yourself, when's the last time I actually sat quietly and picked up a book? Spend time in nature. It's so healing. Have real conversations, like here today. And allow your nervous system to slow down. They want us racing, they want us at high pace. Practice boredom. What does boredom even look like? You know, we're so used to, oh, I'm bored, I need something to do. Sit with that boredom. And learn even to focus on one thing at a time, because the problem with these algorithms, they've trained our brain to crave the next stimuli. So even just thinking about one thing at a time. To reclaim your mind, it may be one of the most important acts of self-protection and self-governance in this modern life. So when we look at who benefits from this toxic system that we're in, the food, the distractions, big pharma, big food, big tech, they benefit from us being anxious, distracted, malnourished, and disempowered. And there is a collusion. Pharma medicalizes distress, food industry feeds addiction, big tech sells our attention. None of these systems ask for informed consent. They presume it, enrolling us by default. We are not seen or respected as living, sovereign beings, but we're customers, consumers, and data points. So I want to talk a bit about something that's close to my heart as well. I work a lot with narcissistic abuse recovery, people that have been through some deep trauma in relationships. And over the years, I've noticed something important. The psychological patterns that I see in controlling relationships are also appearing at a societal level. So narcissistic abuse involves coercive control, gaslighting, fear, confusion, dependency, shame, and the gradual erosion of your personal agency. So during the lockdown years, many people experienced these same psychological dynamics on a collective scale. People were isolated from their loved ones and their communities. Fear became constant. Questioning narratives, no, that wasn't allowed. You'd have been ridiculed or socially rejected, even by your family. Rules and messaging repeatedly changed, creating uncertainty and emotional exhaustion. And many people lost trust in their own perspectives and their own instincts. So whether people agree or not, the psychological impact was real. And as a therapist, the symptoms that I witnessed during lockdown in my clients, because I certainly did keep working all through lockdown, were just strikingly similar to the symptoms I see in anyone that's gone through domestic narcissistic abuse. The anxiety, the hypervigilance, the emotional confusion, helplessness, division, the fear of speaking out openly, and relationship breakdowns, causing disconnection from self and others. So this matters because healing begins when we recognize the dynamics that we're living under, whether that be under a roof with a controlling partner or in this society with a controlling government. The recovery starts by reconnecting with ourselves, rebuilding critical thinking, reducing fear-based input, and learning to trust our own perceptions again. Because we have put too much trust. You know, I know our parents did, our grandparents did. We were speaking earlier about that. Even the BBC, you know, my mom, she's 85. She still thinks the BBC is the word. If it's not on the news, it's not happening. So abuse systems, they lose power when people become aware, grounded, and no longer afraid to think for themselves. Awareness is the beginning of reclaiming our power. So how do we reclaim our power? So first it's about recognizing the tactics for what they are, and I know in this room we all do. Because manipulation loses power when we see it clearly. We stop believing that something is inherently wrong with us for struggling in such an unhealthy world. So the power to change begins with awareness. You're not broken. You're responding to a system that's broken. And self-help isn't about fixing yourself to function in a broken, toxic world. It's about making conscious choices to protect, to nourish, and to value your mind, body, and spirit. To reconnect with your mind's intuition and inner knowing. We become more conscious of what we consume, not just food, but the media, the information, the fear, the distraction, and the narratives. It's what goes in our eyes and ears as well as what goes in our mouth. So to prioritize real food, movement, sleep, creativity, and nature. Allow your nervous system to slow down. Reconnect with real people, having real meaningful conversations. And get creative, because it's proven that negative thoughts cannot exist in a mind that is engaged in that creativity. And that's something I work very close with. If someone comes to me with deep chronic depression, I try to fact find, what was something in their life that were their eyes light up. Did they once play guitar? Did they once play football? What did they do? Did they like art? We all have gifts inside us that we're too distracted now to even use. And build real life community and support, even in the small ways. Because healing happens when safe connection exists, honesty and shared humanity. Every small conscious choice we make is an act about reclaiming our personal power. And this is what I want people to remember. You're not broken. Many people are overwhelmed, disconnected, exhausted, they're grieving, they're traumatized, overstimulated. They're trying to survive systems that often pull us further away from humanity. But awareness changes things. And when we become more conscious, grounded, connected, and courageous, the grip of fear does begin to loosen. So my invitation today is this. Question the scripture given. Protect your mind. Protect your peace. Reconnect with what is real. and remember that healing is possible, individually and collectively. When we stop abandoning ourselves and start reclaiming our worth, our agency and our truth. Because with awareness, courage and comparison, we can move from surviving under control to thriving in the truth. So I say love yourselves and love each other. Thank you for listening. I don't know if you have any questions.
I'm pretty much not so bad in my whole life. However, I'm struggling with the sleep thing. I don't, if I can get to bed a bit sooner, because I get to bed too late and I get up too early, so I'm getting that rate. So have you got any tips of how to pull it back?
So would you say you're a night owl?
We got all that.
Scrolling away at 3 o'clock in the morning. Are you getting, how many hours sleep are you getting?
Around 6 to 7.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Because this thing where we're told that we need 8 hours sleep. So I struggled with this most of my life too. I'm a complete night owl. I always wake up. I do like one sleep cycle. I wake up and I might as well get up and do stuff and then go back. So what it is, that is natural for us to have broken sleep. This idea that we need this solid 8 hours sleep only came about when the whole 9-to-5 system, again the Rockefellers, when that whole system set in, they exhausted us during the day, so then we need these 8 hours sleep. But naturally our body's rhythms, we wake up, and I say get up and do something, don't lie there tossing and turning.
I don't wake up if I get to sleep. I'm normally like, but I'm so busy all the time. I'm absolutely exhausted. So it's like
so burnout. There could be a bit of burnout going on. So your mind has been mentally stimulated that much during the day that you haven't went through the different brain cycles, like delta, theta. We need to naturally switch off. So if say 11 p.m. is your sleep time, you want to be looking at switching off around 8 o'clock. You know, closing the laptop, stop stimulating the brain, hot bath, calamine tea, a little bit of lavender. I say it like I do it myself. I'm there on my laptop at 2 o'clock in the morning.
My sleep time is between 12 and 1, and my get up time is about 6.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Have a cat nap during the day. Has anyone else got any questions?
Yeah, do you know when you see people who are on antidepressants, how do you approach trying to get them off it? Can you actually do that, or is the pressure from the doctor who they're seeing too much? If that makes sense.
So it's a good question, because as a therapist, it's not up to me to advise. I'm there to just talk to and to guide, but I can't say, oh, come off those antidepressants. Because in my mind, I'm like, I need to get this person off. So what I do is pretty much even some of the stuff I spoke of there is, firstly I ask them, when's the last time you had a doctor's review? Because it should be every 4 weeks. And this is where I collect that information, and I know that, oh, I haven't seen my doctor in a year, just repeat prescriptions. And then it's looking at, because they've come through therapy, I offer them, I said, this would be a great time to see how you can organically feel your feelings. How would it feel about coming off antidepressants? But I also say, speak to your doctor about it, of course. But yeah, I think therapy is a good opportunity to help someone help you feel those feelings as you're coming off. But there is a journey with it. Anyone coming off antidepressants, it has to be broke down, sometimes over a couple of months. Yeah, it can get scary.
Are you seeing an increased lack of empathy with people?
Yeah, I would say both in my personal life and work life. Yeah, and I'm seeing the victims of people who have that increased lack of empathy. Yeah. I just say it's the God gene in people. And maybe this is, I mean, I know it's conspiratorial, but I think the vaccine had something in there that is impacting people's ability to have compassion for each other. Most definitely. Yeah.
Well, straight away the people in the world, they've got no empathy and love. They've got no empathy. But I'm a believer as well. If you switch your Wi-Fi off and switch your electricity off overnight, I think you're a better kid, you know. Not them smart meters or whatever. But just try that. But try something different when you get up as well. He said try something different with the air high. Not like a routine, you've got a routine. Just do something different, and I know that works. Because where I just stay in and just, I'm not depressed, me. I used to say depressed, I was bored of being depressed. It's just easy to just go and stay in bed. Because I haven't got a girlfriend. Boss, you know, as well, right? But just do something different to it, and it works. If you just get up, just do something different.
Get up and do something. Put the laundry on, make it useful. And I totally agree with switching off the Wi-Fi and grinding as well, even sometimes going for a walk. Even around your garden, get in your bare feet, get grinding as well, because we're missing all of these natural rhythms.
People who work, like you've been in a taxi for 10 years like me, so just try a different way, routes to it, and you just try something different, you meet people, you just do something different and it works.
See, we have a mind that needs stimulation, but it's been overstimulated. If you've ever watched, there's a sort of a documentary, The Social Dilemma. Has anyone seen that? Yeah, that's interesting because it shows that when they were setting up these algorithms for the likes of Instagram and all these social media accounts, they brought in top psychologists to actually look at how could they captivate the human mind the quickest. And this is why we're now seeing on the likes of TikTok and that these quick snap little videos, because it's just the brain is getting used to it and needs. So then you set down your phone after an hour of doing that and your brain has just been scrambled.
Because you're used to it.
Yeah.
I've seen the government paperwork with it before COVID when he said this is what's going to happen, divorces. They've got to plan it all, so they knew what was going to happen. You know what I mean? That's what I do, I study stuff like that. So it's all planned, but if you just do something different. I've lost friends, mates, and trust me, I'm sick of telling people, and you just don't mention the vaccines there. Just like, I'm not sick of it, it's not about that, it's about everything else. It's not you, basically, you know what I mean? But like, you just do something different and just, you know when there's something wrong. Right?
But even echoing back to what Ricky said about finding that internal path.
Get to know yourself.
That's massive because we're so distracted to be looking externally, and this is again even where antidepressants come into it because, oh, I feel sad, I'm going to go to the doctor, I'll get a pill to take away my sadness. There's no pill out there that's going to stop you feeling your feelings.
It's a fact for you.
And healing is about feeling your feelings. This is the human experience that we're having.
I reckon you're born without an immune system, mate. As soon as you're born, they give you your immune system kicks in. The human body is the best healer, the best, it's an antenna. It picks up all your frequencies. If you're down, it'll throw all you down.
And there's so many hidden healing, like we think of the bells that they took away, those beautiful healing bells, the bells. Yeah, I have a little church near me and it bongs every Sunday at 10 o'clock. I always make sure I'm going for a walk just to hear the resonance of it.
If we go back in history, the churches were healing centres, that's where the organs, anything with organ in it is good for you. Can I say this as well? They have to ban orgasms because in the churches, because that's what they do. So they ban that, but it's all healing centres. That's a fact.
Well,
that's really weird.
Right. Moving
The issue on the pills, the antidepressants. So what's the percentage of people that come through your doors that actually on these pills? So, I mean, I know you're going to say that percentage.
Yeah, well, I know in my own client practice now, there's 27 therapists in there, so I would say the statistics are quite high, but in my own practice I just noticed there's a rise in antidepressant use and also a rise in either self-diagnosed ADHD or people have paid an absolute fortune to go and get a diagnosis of ADHD just to feel better having a label. And this is the thing that's like feeding the beast in the system, because they want to label our ailments. So then they're treating the label, they're not actually treating the organic feelings that we're having, but it's hard.
It's also traits as well, that labeling personality traits as ADHD.
Oh yeah,
I identify as that ADHD.
yeah.
Can you put a percentage on it?
I don't have a percentage. I would say in my client work, I would say probably 60-70%. It's high, because obviously they've gone down the channels of the NHS, and the sad thing about that is too that the NHS only ever promote CBT therapy, which is great in itself, cognitive behavioural therapy, but it's very measured, and the reason it is cognitive behavioural therapy, it's a tick box. So I'm not a CBT therapist, but if I was, my client would be coming in, how do you feel today, 1 out of 10? You know, what was your motivation like this week, 1 out of 10? That is all measured and given back in the system, so that the government fund, and which they don't fund enough. Whereas when you get like private therapy, you can select your therapist to be a psychodynamic therapist, a person-centered therapist, different approaches that I feel are tailored better to certain problems than what CBT. CBT is not a one thing that fits all, but as far as the NHS is concerned, here's some CBT, whether you've come in with trauma, addiction, relationship issues, and a lot of it now, which I find is really sad, they're just given an email to log in and have a Zoom call. They're not even feeling the person in the room and the eye contact that's needed for counselling to actually work. Because counselling to me is all about the human, but it's about the human connection. I work with so many people that, they would say I have family around me that love me, but I just can't talk to them about this certain thing, and they've never had someone that actually held space for them. And that feels sad, but that is where our healing is. And it is sad in a way that, the practice I work at, we're busy, but it's a bittersweet feeling, because we're busy because mental health is so bad. There's a crisis going on. And a lot of it is just people aren't being heard. People aren't holding space for each other. Again, we're too distracted. So that's why I say, love each other, love yourselves, show that love, give that hug. Let people know that you care.
Yeah, we don't have a television now for 26 years.
Well done.
I hear people, getting fear of TV and all this. I don't get any advertisements, so it's, I'm ducking a lot.
You're
of
free from all of that. Yeah.
It's a lot more fresher. We have just don't
I
have a
haven't
TV
watched
end
in 15 years. I haven't watched TV.
26
I'm on YouTube all the time, going down all sorts of rabbit holes, but I don't.
Yeah.
As far as mainstream TV or the movies, the thing is, once you see behind that veil, even the music. I used to be a professional singer for many years, and songs that I sang, and I hear them now on the radio, and I'm like, how did I sing those lyrics? And our movies that you watch, and you can just see how the agenda's going. It really does. Once you go behind the veil, it's hard to turn back. Yeah, but well done. No TV.
I ought to abolish TV for everybody.
Yeah. All right, so thank you.
Well done, guys, for everybody who's turned up tonight. Thank you for support.
Thank you for
no doubt we'll try it all again. What it's worth, the next one is in July. Keep going. Except we've had lots of little monthly meetings, and we've had bigger meetings in here. Right? They're all the same, because they all generate the same sort of spirituality and coming together and the whole idea of what we're doing, isn't it?
Carl, you're doing the right thing, mate. There's not many spaces where like we can get to meet each other as well. I mean, we're probably surrounded mostly by people who know what's going on, so it's nice to get to other people.
Like you said before, you know, at the beginning of all this, I personally felt like there was something wrong with me. And I thought, if I'm getting it, why isn't everybody else? So it was a lonely journey really, wasn't it, to start off with. And as I say, when you come to meetings like this, it just really, you know, makes you think.
That song, innit? I'm so lonely, I've just got to let you know. No.
People from themselves. Very nice and Richard Ball, mathematician, etc. Background or level of people we are and they're all coming in and people don't like certain speakers. Well, I get this is still part of the process.
When Andrew really came first, you could tell him really, really well. And then he come back because we're all really friendly.
Actually, I've got an opinion. Nothing's broken. This is part of reality. It's a physical world. It goes through this cycle, and it's from like the politicians down the orders is what it's supposed to do. Without that, we'll still. Had 9/11 not happened, I'll be still watching Coronation Street. I'll be no wiser than I was. And it's like, it's in the Hindu scriptures. They actually mention that the demonic people. There's a silver lining to it. So it wakes up those. I think it's.
I mean, when it was 9/11, it took me about 6 hours to work 9/11 out of my head. Something not rated. 6 hours. It's over in 35 seconds. And I'll tell you why, because I listened to Radio Lancashire. Radio Lancashire brought it out at 7 o'clock. You must all stop going like, I'm thinking, well, it weren't until yesterday. The day before. It's not yesterday. So I just tend to. They used to know me at Lancashire. Paul from Burnley. Even mainly football related. Paul from Acton, Burnley. He's talking about Burnley, so. Oh, Paul's been on from Acton. He said he's never heard a bunch of rubbish in his life. So the first text he actually read out, this is straight after the weather. Right? So don't forget, the day they've announced COVID, they've read my message out first all over Red Lancashire. And they basically said, Paul from Acton thinks he's never heard a bunch of rubbish in his life. It's going to lead to draconian rules. It's going to lead to lining the big pharmaceutical pockets, etc., etc. He read it all out. Everything read out. And
is he still employed?
And you're thinking, it took like me a minute to work that out in my head.
Actually, what he's saying.
Just one thing. But within a week, obviously, they banned me off Red Lancashire.
If you do listen to the news, pay attention to the words. Like the word quality, but one of the best examples is like the word quality. If you buy a quality car from a quality car you sell them, and you get it breaks down like 3 times first month, then sets on fire. You just want to word something else. If you go running back saying I'm going to sue you, he said, yeah, it is a quality car, bad quality. So you've got another word to put to it, right? If you listen to the news, they are not allowed. This actually, I was in the group, and we this is like 2010, and we were getting a court case against Murdoch Empire and the BBC over misleading us into the Iraq War. Well, the Murdoch Empire gave a message back saying we never officially ever said he had any weapons of mass destruction. Officially. So what do you mean that? They then told us what official means. If it's proper true news, they do not use undefined words without defining them, or they just don't use them. It's like when you write out a will, it has to be a top legal thing. So if you listen to it and you think, hang on, that sentence can mean this or that, it's not, you haven't defined it, it's just fake news, and it's cartoon time. So you just brush that to one side. And so you play the game, listen to the news, in fact, just on the first, exactly like he said, it took me 2.5 minutes. It was when they said 5 people have died, on the first day, said, this disease comes from Wuhan, and 5 people have died. Well, because it's had died of what? Because they didn't define it. I thought, this is fake news. And actually, it was a few months later, after COVID got started, I was at a factory and they were sticking up stickers, wear a mask, keep 2 meters apart, and all this. It's a lot of bullshit, this. And I said that to them. And as soon as I said that, I had a dream. And what I dreamt of was, this was around March time, in 2000. I dreamt of, the Prime Minister at the time, Boris Johnson, at a table, seeing the news, reading out the news, counselling Christmas, saying we're not going to have Christmas. And then, in this dream, you then put it down, you then stood at one side, picked up a wine glass, had a sip of wine, and then put on a hat and started boogieing. And I was just about going to mention these words, what I'm just saying right now. Yeah, but when all of a sudden, I was just about going to mention it, when it was continued again, this dream of the cameraman saying,
I did for a year. For a year, I knew it was
You mentioned Boris Johnson there. They always tell you what's going to happen. Before he left office, he actually said there'll be no more lockdowns ever. I heard them words from him. Said there'll be no more lockdowns. There'll be no more lockdowns. People are awake to it. So no matter if it's antivirus, birth, there'll be no more lockdowns. So everything you see on social media is there as a fear-mongering exercise. That's why they keep spinning. At the moment, it was antivirus, whatever, the other week. It was Ebola this week in Africa, and this time there'll be something else next week. So this is what I mean. Don't get involved.
And actually,
but they put the same thing out of they push off the boat to our part, and they hit the boat, they just do the same thing, they do the same thing.
I put that out.